I'm going to call to order the Municipal Utility Commission's meeting this Thursday, May 25th, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. May we have roll call, please?
Chair Van Oosting,
Present.
Vice Chair Dimmitt,
Present.
Commissioner Bothman,
Present.
Commissioner Custer,
Present.
Commissioner Retberg,
Present.
and Commissioner Wigren.
Present.
We have a quorum.
All right, if we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. The regular meeting minutes of January 26, 2023. Has everyone had a chance to review those minutes? Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve them.
Have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Minutes are approved. Item number 2, the consideration of public comments. Do we have anyone who wishes to address the commission?
No, we do not have any comments.
Okay, thank you. And item number 3, our new business. 3A, review and recommendation for exception to the requirements to connect to the sewer. Staff has received a request for a sewer variance from Mario Hilo and Gloria Jeffries for a parcel located in the southeast corner of Luis Avenue and Diamond Spur Street within Rancho Santa Fe subdivision. The applicants plan on obtaining a building permit to construct a single-family residence.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Eric Sparkman, Assistant City Engineer. So this project is for a vacant parcel located in the Rancho Santa Fe subdivision. The subject property is located at the southeast corner of Diamond Spur Street and Louise Avenue, as shown on the exhibit. The utility regulations state that an undeveloped property must connect to the public sewer system when it is within 500 feet of the property. There is an existing 8-inch sewer main in Diamond Spur Street, approximately 85 foot north of this property. It's shown with the green line, and the yellow dot is a sewer cleanout. The regulations also require that the main be extended along all adjacent property frontages. So the line would have to extend in Louise, Diamond Spur, as well as Pinto Road. The line extension in Louise Avenue would not provide a benefit for future upstream connections, so staff would support waiving the extension within Louise. This project meets all the criteria for a sewer line extension, and staff recommends denial of the variance. The applicants are here in attendance, and they would like to address the commission. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Do we have any questions for staff before we hear from the applicants?
Yeah, so waived on Louise, why is it not waived on Pinto first getting across the property?
On Pinto, it's working with the topography, so it could be extended to serve the additional developments on the south of the side street here, and I apologize, I don't know the name of the street, and it could extend all the way down to Southern, so it can serve a multitude of additional connections.
Question on the, looks like there's another vacant parcel down there. Is that parcel within 500 feet of the sewer line?
They're right on the edge. So I believe they're within 500 feet, but they're right at it.
And what's the expected cost to add the additional sewer from the point?
Uh,
It's the yellow
Obviously,
box.
there's a cost. They have to get a civil engineer to design the plans. They have to get a contractor to build it. With these construction prices these days, how they're fluctuating, it'd be hard for me to give you an estimate at this time.
But in other words, it's not through the city.
Correct.
Okay.
Do we know, because obviously all the other ones are on septics back when they were built.
Yes.
Do we know the time period that these were roughly built? I can pull it up to see, like, so I know when their septics go, they're not allowed to install them.
Yes, for a failed septic system, if they're within 250 feet, they'd have to connect. The majority of this Rancho Santa Fe Phase 2 is built out, and the majority are on septic. What was your original question? I forget.
Do you like the time period, was it like 10 years ago these were built, or 20 years? Because I forget when the law was enacted.
It was before my time, I'll be honest with you. I've been here nearly 6 years, but
I think that section of subdivision was probably in the late 90s, early 2000s.
And what's the rule on going back? I know when people pay for something like this, they can go back if someone else needs to connect and do an assessment.
yes, it's called a payback agreement. So it's basically, it can be put in place for 20 years, and anybody else who connects for a sewer service would have to pay a prorated share, and it's based on the property frontage.
So that would only apply to 3, maybe 4 of the lots in the area. So it's only if someone connects their house to the line that someone builds. If it's extended, there isn't a payback due when someone continues to extend the line. It's only when the straw goes into the line that was built by someone else.
So if someone built on that other vacant lot, so obviously we have to put it up, Pinto across their property line, they wouldn't have to pay back because they're just adding to it. But if the other houses, the 4 around there, or 5, tied in there, they'd have to pay back in the next 20 years.
Are there any other questions for staff?
I have another one. I'm thinking how to word it. It's certainly in the interest of the city to connect to Southern due to upcoming developments and future growth. Would you say that's correct?
Yes.
What would be the detriment of putting a septic system on this property in the eyes of the city?
Well, we spend a lot of money upgrading our treatment plant. We want people to use it. Private septic systems, they release a lot of nitrates, which can be detrimental to the local residents, as well as potentially contaminate the groundwater. So when we have a nice facility and we can properly treat the wastewater, we would want them to connect.
So if the sewer wasn't there today, but this subdivision was platted, would it be allowed to go on septic, or would it have to go on sewer?
All new subdivisions must be served with the sewer.
Any more questions? Okay. If we can hear from the applicants at this time.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Dustin Lewis, 270 El Rancho. I'm representing the client, Mario. He has had this property for many years. When he purchased this, it was plotted out by the developers of Rancho Santa Fe back in the day, the Schritters, the Brunos, and it was a septic-only area. This has now become one of those infill lots. Kingman, we want to fill in those infill lots. You know, there's a few of them scattered, it's checkerboarded. They had purchased it with the assumption that it was always going to be a septic. He hasn't moved here yet. He's had a sister that's lived here about 20 years. Finally, to the point he can move here, build, make Kingman his home. He's gone through the process and had plans done, for this lot. Goes into the permitting process, finds out that, sewer's a little too close. 85 feet is to the back corner. That's on Louise. Due to development standards for Rancho Santa Fe subdivision, it's actually a Pinto lot. That is approximately 350 feet that direction of sewer. You're talking cost. We got them some rough ones with the cost of engineering now, underground utilities, they're upwards of just under $100,000 for this. This has been a little bit over a year process. They looked at one time at just possibly selling. They had scrapped the, the idea if they had to put that much cost into it. It's ineffective to build on this lot for, if they have to run sewer to it, it'll make it a vacant lot. They looked into selling the property. Once they divulged that information to their realtors, they found out that it was, once again, not an interesting lot. We looked at it and somebody said, hey, unless you want to build a park there, it's probably not worth developing on. They contacted us again and, said, hey, what are the current costs again for sewer? They actually had increased slightly and made it a little bit, more expensive to even develop again. There's very few lots that could ever connect to that sewer, and I think that it was brought up by staff, that nitrates in the ground and things like that. If a septic system's operating properly, and I'm speaking from installing septic systems for upwards of 30 years. We've got a pumping company also, and I served 2 terms on ADEQ on their wastewater committee. If they're operating properly, they don't submit all the nitrates. They're very close to what it is with a treatment plant. Water table's not close in that area like it is in, say, the Bullhead Havasu areas. I don't personally see any reason why you wouldn't want it there. Nobody else is ever going to connect to it. Everything around it, as you can see, everything to the south on Louise is septic. They would be the only one in this little island that had any kind of sewer connection. I know that it's, the code that's in there. You guys are sitting up here as commissioners. I spent 3.5 years on the Utility Commission, went over and did 7.5 years on the Planning and Zoning Commission afterwards. It's a thankless thing, but I applaud you and I thank you for taking the time to listen to this client, plead their case to you. They'd really like to build here. He's had this lot for many years and wants to make it his forever home. If not, he'll have to take a loss on this, and hopefully, it doesn't push him away from Kingman when he has to find another property to build in while he leaves this one empty.
Are there any questions for the applicant?
Yeah, I'd like to add to that also. Yes. I know that, tax dollars is something that we always want to see come into the city. We don't know what it's going to be like if he has to look for another property. Will it be still in the city limits? Will it be outside? He's had plans done that were, ready to submit to the city, generate tax dollars. There's permit fees. They're small fees, but they're fees that the city's going to lose also. I know the city always wants to extend that sewer, so it's, and us as residents want that sewer grid built out there. It's a long ways to Southern from right there, and that stub and the crossing across Louise, which is, big, and it's going to be, a long time before it would ever connect to Southern. But I'm open for any questions. I'm just representing them because they didn't have a lot of knowledge. They just know that want to move to Kingman.
Sure, thank you. Do we have any questions for the applicant?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to meet with you also.
Absolutely, thank you for being here. All right, does anybody want to make a motion to approve or deny the variance?
I'll make a motion to deny the variance for the reasons of the potential impact of extending it even further for another lot, and then the idea that there's a potential payback within a 20-year time frame. So I'm going to make a motion to deny the variance.
Do we have anyone who would like to second that motion? Okay, the motion is dead. Do we have any further discussion, or do we have another motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the variance.
You don't? So we have a motion to approve the variance. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
So we have a motion and we have a second. Is there any further discussion we would like to have on this motion before we vote? Okay, let's put it to a vote. All those in favor of accepting the variance signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed?
No.
All right, the ayes have it. Motion is carried. The variance is accepted. Item number 4, do we have any announcements by commission members? Limited to announcements, availability, or attendance at conferences and seminars, requests for agenda items for future meetings, and requests for reports from staff. There are no items. And number 5, do we have a motion for adjournment? Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting adjourned.